Hello everybody, Shift Your Mindset here with a new episode, and this episode will be for everyone who is PIMO, physically in, mentally out. Before I start the video, I just want to thank the 2 new subscribers to my channel, Cat B and Liv, for your support. It helps me out. I've bought some food for the donkeys. They are very happy. It's getting winter here, so sometimes we buy some food just to add to the grass they're eating. So thank you for that and welcome as a new member on the channel. If you aren't a member, maybe you can be a member, buy me a cup of coffee or support the way these videos are being aired. And of course you can vote for topics I'm gonna mention in my videos. But the PIMOs out there. Why PIMOs? Because I was thinking with this latest convention, what's happening now, I think the half of 2025 that's left can be a little bit difficult for the PIMOs. Why? Because they are targeting not only the ones who they called apostates, I call them the truth seekers, but also they are gonna focus on the people who are leaking material. You see it in the Mark O'Donnell case. They want to know with what people, which people he is being in contact with, what his sources are. We know there are a lot of people who are giving the people outside of the organization the elders' letters, the elders' book, stuff like that. It's all in the open, and I think the governing body is about closing ranks, closing everybody to leave the organization. I don't think they are being busy with expanding the organization in numbers. Of course, they do it in easy targets like Africa, where there is no real outsourced, how do you call it? Where there's no too much research going outside of the organization. Also in the rural areas where I am, not everybody has been connected to internet. So it's more difficult for the African countries to research about Jehovah's Witnesses. They have more troubles. They have more poverty. When there are more problems, there's also more chance that people seek for a solution, for hope. I see it how loyal they are to a government who doesn't treat them right. But it's in their genes. It's that if you make a choice, you stick with that choice, whatever what. But outside information is scarce. So the African countries, what we saw in the JW broadcast, they are putting money into that because it's easy growth in those countries for a Jehovah's Witness. But in the Western countries, they are all about maintaining the people inside. And the people who are getting the most heat in the few 6 months till the end of the year is, in my belief, the PIMO people. They have the most problems because when you are stepping, as we could see at the convention videos, if you are just stepping out a little bit in the wrong direction, you have already a target on your back. So the emotional turmoil for the PIMOs will be worse, I think, in the few upcoming months. Because people after the convention are extra sharp. They are encouraged, as they call it. I call it programmed or conditioned. But they are extra sharp in seeing irregularities in people's behavior. So we all know that the emotional turmoil of PIMOs is something that is happening because they are in an eternal conflict. Why that? Because they can hold no longer on to what they were believing. So that's why they experience anxiety, depression, because the internal truth of them is struggling with the external expectations. And of course, they have the fear for being isolated or shunned. So they have to walk on eggshells. They don't believe in what the organization is saying and expecting from them and what they are doing as an organization, but they have to stay low key. And that's difficult. And I would express not my condolences, it's the wrong word, but my appreciation for all those people who are mentally already out that organization but are still in that organization. You are brave people. It's a difficult, delicate situation, I think. I cut off immediately after I woke up in that organization and thought, hey, this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. And I made a decision. I lost everything. But I can also understand for you that it's difficult for you because of your circumstances. Maybe you have a wife that's hardcore JW and you are not believing it anymore. But you have 2 children. You love your wife still because that's a different thing. If you don't love the organization, you can still love your wife. But you don't want to go to meetings anymore. So you have to adjust a little bit. You have to maneuver a little bit. You have to be careful in what you're saying. That if you drive home and you say, hey, that's a weird argument from that brother, blah, 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 that she's not getting into the defensive mode. And that's disturb your connection with her and also your marriage and stuff like that. You still want to take care of your children. So being a PIMO and me saying, hey, you have to cut it out and you have to leave and you have to think of yourself and blah, blah, blah would be selfish. And it will be wrong advice. So I'm not giving advice on what to do because everybody has a unique situation and everybody has things in their mind they have to consider. Some people rip out the bandage immediately and go and leave everything behind, but also it can be gradually going on day by day that you do a step back. Because the fear for shunning is real. The fear of isolation is real. Nobody wants to be shunned. Nobody wants to be isolated. So there are different people with all unique qualities and they all have different situations they have to handle. To keep the balls in the air and keep on going. But you don't want to blow your cover. So for me, the most sympathy for all those PIMOs because it's so hard. Why? Who can you trust? If you have to live every day, if I imagine that, oh, can I trust that one? Can I trust that one? Because sometimes you see PIMI people do also weird things, bad things, according to the scriptures and the organizational rules. but they are PIMOs, they're still physically in. And you think maybe, oh, when they're doing that, they also have doubts and whatever in the organization. But you don't know if you can trust them. So you have to test it. You have to look carefully if you can trust somebody. Because if you are physically in but mentally out, one slip up and your cover is blown. Then you are be summoned to the elders, come into the back room, and then the whole problem thing starts. But that's also the part I think that will help you to break with the religion from there on. But are you not ready for it? No problem. If you're not up to it yet, no problem. Take your time, be yourself, but don't lose yourself in this process. Because I can imagine what you're going through. And there is no mental support for you. Because you can't go to somebody in that organization and say, hey, I'm struggling with my mental health because of this. I'm struggling because of that. I'm struggling with that policy. It's a little bit that you are on your own. And that's difficult and that's hard. And nobody has to go through something like that, in my opinion. So, what can you do? I made a document, the link is in the description, for PIMOs or other people who wants to help somebody. It's a list with what they are going through, some steps you can take for yourself. And then in the end, of course, if you are wanting to have a confidential talk, whatever, you want coaching or whatever, you can always email me. I'm always writing back, helping you, because I know this is the most important time in your life. It's hard to separate yourself from an organization for fully 100%. And now there's a tug of war inside you, balancing to keep your cover alive, and on the other hand, you don't feel for it anymore. And it's exhausting. And what can I do that people don't notice that I'm taking a step back? Maybe give back your privileges, or that you stop attending meetings. But you don't want to do all the steps at once, because then they are going to notice something is wrong. And when something is wrong, they are diving onto you like bloodhounds, and then the thing will escalate. Sometimes escalation can be good. In my case, it was good, because then you're done with it and then you can live your life. But I had no children, I had no wife. I was divorced at that moment, so it was only thing I had was my family, my parents and my sister, to leave. That was the hard thing. But there comes a time in life that you have to choose for yourself and your own luck. But that's something somebody isn't there yet, has good reasons to do it in another way. So as a former Jehovah's Witness, we have to respect whatever somebody is choosing. Free will, people. But your personal identity is at stake. And that's the problem if you are mentally out. Because you have to suppress your true self. And then that can be leading to shame or loss of your personal identity. Because you have to hide aspects from yourself to that organization and the expectations of that organization. And that's difficult and hard. So that's a war going on inside. You want to be yourself, but you can't be yourself. Because if you are yourself, you're gonna get yourself in trouble. So we have to give them support, we have to give those persons love, instead of saying to them, you have to do this, 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 this. There is not one road to eventually leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's not that clear and simple. So consider when you're talking to people that they are struggling with trust. Who can I trust? So it's also not normal that they would trust somebody outside of the organization even, because they don't trust anybody. So it's hard for them to trust people. But that's all right. Let them get used then that you are a trustworthy person. That you keep things confidential. Because they come from something that is, maybe it was their whole life. They didn't know any other thing than being a Jehovah's Witness. And then it's hard to shift that mindset to something else. So, being a PIMO is nothing wrong with it. But in the end, it will rob you from your personal identity, and it will rob you from your true freedom. Something I want for everybody in the world. That a person can be free, can be respected for it, and that people have empathy and compassion for you, whatever you are believing, whatever you are feeling about a certain religion or whatever. I think religion doesn't have to be a deal breaker for friendship or whatever. That's nonsense. But it can limit people for personal growth, because the organization discourages higher education, critical thinking. So that can limit you for personal growth. And that's something I hope everybody achieves in their life, that they reflect on things, that they think, hey, this could be better, or I could handle things differently, or whatever it is in life, just growing. Every day we grow as a human being in what we like and what we want to do and how we think about certain things. And that's why PIMOs deserve our love and attention. So if somebody reaches out to you, just remember where they are coming from. And one thing you don't want to do is to fill in the blanks for them. Because my way out of the organization don't have to be the only way. It was my learning process. And somebody else has different circumstances, different ideas, different things they want to work on. Some people have anxieties about Armageddon. I never had anxieties about Armageddon. I wasn't afraid for losing my family. Of course, it hurts, but I wasn't afraid for losing them, because the thing I felt inside myself was bigger than getting the recognition for my family and the conditional love from my family, because I was only good enough if I stayed as a Jehovah's Witness. I wasn't the good son, I wasn't the good brother if I leave the Jehovah's Witnesses and build my own life. My life isn't different, it's only quality of life of my life is way better now, in my opinion. I'm happy where I live, what I do. I'm feeling great. I personally have grown a lot. So how could anybody have something against that? So I wasn't afraid for losing my family or my friends, everybody I knew. So if you are a PIMO, think about what you want in the end. and how you want to achieve that, how you want to do it, and what you need to get it done. And it's what I didn't do is I didn't have enough friends. I had a few good friends outside of the religion, and that's a good start. There are platforms where PIMO people can make connection with other people who already left, who are also busy leaving. That's a way you know that somebody is truthful and honest about leaving an organization. In your own congregation, it can be hard because it's difficult for you to trust somebody, to open up to somebody, because that person can snitch on you. And with those recent videos, I think the snitching will only get worse. And I think the PIMOs have a target on their back more than ever, because the governing body is clear about what they want. They don't want people to have their own opinion. They don't want people that are doing nothing. They want people to control people even over their social media life, or what they are watching, or what they are thinking. So there is no room left for people who don't walk the walk or are towing the line of the organization. But they want to keep them in. So you get more attention. The elders will notice everything that is going wrong, and they will go around in the congregation for everybody to encourage who is not as active as they want you to be. So you will be in their spotlights, you will be in their minds. And people are looking for irregularities in the congregation. So, PIMOs, I'm proud of you that you already are taking a step back from that organization, that you started with your critical thinking. Keep on doing that. Keep putting things to the light for yourself to see what the truth is about the organization. Do your research. Compare the scriptures with the teachings of the governing body, and just feel free to email me if you have troubles with something, if you want some questions, how I did some things or whatever. That's not a problem. We're here to help. Everybody here in the community is here to help, but you have to make that decision eventually on your own. And we think as a community that you are capable of making that decision your own and making the right decision for you. Also in consideration the things around you, of course. So no judgment to PIMOs. There are some traps that you are blowing your cover maybe too soon or whatever. Don't fall into that. Be cautious. Luckily there is the internet, so in your free time, in your private time, you can look whatever you want. Do your research and make a good decision. We have faith in you. Guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about this, if you are PIMO or whatever, how you can help those people. If you are PIMO and you're staying in that religion, no problem, no judgment. It's all good, but do it for yourself and make it the most easy way for yourself to live your life that you want. So maybe you're a PIMO and you're living far away from your parents. They don't check up on you. You can have a free life, you can do whatever you want, but you're still connected to the Jehovah's Witnesses. If that's working for you, no problem, stay with it. If it helps you, stay with it. But be true at that inner voice inside of you. If you feel some friction, just sit down, maybe in nature or just in a relaxing moment, and think, oh, what is that feeling that's bothering me? And And that's a signal that you have to do something about it. And the best way to do it, you can ask for people for help, outside help, coaching, therapy, whatever works for you, but live your life in the best way you can live. Thank you for watching. We see each other on the next episode. The link to the document will be in the description. Enjoy, people, and we talk to each other on the next episode.